Hey there, today we're going to look at a expensive keyring torch versus a more accessible keyring torch, and I'm going to point out the differences, make some commentary, but probably leave the conclusion up to you to perhaps express in the comments about which is more worthwhile getting. What you've got here is a Surefire Titan A from last year. I think these started to come out. Surefire hadn't done a keyring torch for a long time, and they came out with this one. This is in the aluminium, black aluminium. I think that's the only one they make the A in. They make the Titan Plus in a brushed stainless steel or brushed aluminium type, so silver. This is the Olight i3S in brass. So they make also in the aluminium, a couple other materials, titanium and whatnot. I like the brass one because I like things that are made of brass. So you pay the lowest price I could find on the Olight. This is just on eBay, so these are just indicative. You might be able to get a couple of dollars here or there, whatever. $36.95 including shipping in Australian money for the Olight i3S in brass. The aluminium ones are a little bit cheaper, so it might even be a more fair comparison to this one. The ThruNite with Surefire with shipping, about $110. So there you go. So what does each one have? So let's talk about, I guess, the most interesting, perhaps important things for a flashlight is how it works. So this one you get 3 settings: a maximum lumens of 180, then a medium mode of 20, and then a moonlight mode of 2 lumens on the Olight. On the Surefire, you get a high of 125 lumens and a low of 15 lumens. The runtime. The max runtime on this one goes for 42 minutes, the medium's for 10 hours, and then 96 hours on that moonlight mode. This one doesn't have the moonlight, but the high will go for an hour, so it's a little dimmer, so 125 to 180, but the 125 will go for 15 extra minutes. The medium goes for 8 hours, even though it's slightly lower lumens, so just, I guess, the way the diode uses the electricity available to it, and there's no moonlight mode, so that's not so that this one outperforms on the high, lasts a bit longer, but this one, the medium and low modes, outperform the Surefire. Do those modes matter? I like the moonlight mode, so high, medium, moonlight. I like moonlight mode for getting around the house in the middle of the night, for finding my phone, perhaps on my nightstand if I wake up in the middle of the night and want to know the time. I like moonlight mode. However, to get there, you need to cycle through all 3, so it's you use moonlight mode with the purpose of not disturbing anyone. So if that initial flash you can get through that, then it's got a good moonlight mode. This one, the high and the low, they're not super. The lows doesn't feel super different to the high, really. You notice at night on a big, on a large scale, but it just goes to show that lumens is a bit of a fickle sort of way of expressing light in these torches, because I'm flicking between the 2 modes there, and as you can see, you don't get a great deal. The thing with the Surefire is you can it's got those 2 modes, but you can really twist the head really lightly, and you can sort of dial in, if you're careful, you can dial in a moonlight mode. It's not an official moonlight mode, but it's definitely lower than 25 lumen, than the 15 lumens rather. So interesting, and even that I've dialed in even less. So whether that's supposed to happen or not, obviously just squeezing it tight gets you the brilliant light. But if you are happy to fiddle with it a bit, then you do get some of those extra settings. However, they're not listed as official ones, so I wouldn't really put them as selling points in case yours doesn't do that. The thing I like about the Olight that the Surefire doesn't do is that it does tail stand. So tail stand is good in the middle of the night for making somewhat of a lamp kind of thing, if you just want to read or something like that, especially using this middle mode. 10 hours of that'll get you, you could use that a few nights in a row to do your reading, say, tent, or even just in your bedroom if your lamps are too bright. This has got a nice cool bluish light to sort of read by, which is quite nice. Surefire have put their tail cap, they've put the integral ring through the tail cap, so obviously it doesn't stand. And it does, it would roll a little bit as well. It's got some knurling in it to prevent rolling, but it'll roll a little bit if you're not, if that's an issue for you. This one has a clip as well, so sort of an extra bonus retention method. To get a clip on this, you need to pay even more for the Titan Plus. So really, features-wise, the Olight has the Surefire beat. So what are we looking at? What other aspects could the Surefire possibly gain ground on the Olight? Well, the weight is one thing. This is a lighter weight than this one. However, that point is probably moot when you get the aluminium Olight. What people who are into Surefire will often argue is build quality. And by all means, I've got no reason to doubt that that's a valid argument, because this one has been, it's been in my pocket for over a year now, like a greater part of 18 months. And as I said in my follow-up review of it, it really has been definitely my primary torch. I've been through several batteries on it. Nearly a dozen batteries by now. I'm using it all the time. Really, really handy to have a torch on your keys. The build quality of Olights, well, probably less of a sure thing, and I guess the name being Surefire, maybe that's part of their little marketing scheme. Because I've had my Olight, what is it? The S1 baton, and I have sort of had there's some rust issues underneath the clip. Just there. So Olight by itself isn't, and this clip isn't getting taken off and put on all the time, it's just sat there. So Olight doesn't have that sort of bulletproof brand that perhaps Surefire has with regard to reputation. So, and just a couple of little things, I've just, every now and then the push button emitter just doesn't quite do what I want it to do. But I mean, overall it's been very good, but this has got and I'll get to it later, this is obviously being backed by the company that this will outlast this torch, so talk about that in a sec. The general feel of construction immediately though, this feels very, very tight, and I think the brass helps that a lot as well. Brass is one of the best and most workable materials for making threading, and as such, this has really defined on and off, so you can really make minute movements and you really feel the smoothness and just the solidness in that action. So when you unscrew it, it feels smooth the whole way, and when you screw it back on, it feels smooth the whole way. So that's just brass for you. Brass, it's just, you know, they've used it in piping, and it's a ductile, it's a flexible, it's a good material. And this one here, they've done a really good job with the aluminium as well. Aluminium and brass, they're both not super hard materials, so if you did abuse these too much, then it's likely those threads could perhaps twist. Say if you pulled while turning it or pushed while turning it too often, those threads might end up suffering over the years. But apart from that, this one is feeling really, really solid as well. The warranty is where I guess the spirit of the products comes to light. How long is your torch supposed to last? What do you think? It's such a fast moving, you'd instantly say, oh, for life, for life. It's such a fast moving thing. This knife, Benchmade will say, they'll back it for, the life of the product. It's a knife. Nothing too much is going to change in the knife industry. Yeah, the steels change and things like that. Some genius will think up a new lock from every 5 years or something. But really, this knife will be sold in this iteration as a new knife, pretty much, perhaps slightly upgraded, steels or something, for the next 20 years. These go out of date very quickly. Olight offers a 5-year warranty where they'll replace or repair it for free, and then after that 5 years you have to pay the cost of their action. So if it needs new parts, then you just pay for the new emitter or whatever. So I mean, whether you'd ever bother doing that after 5 years, it probably just speaks more about how long these things are supposed to last. Surefire has a lifetime warranty, and it's from what I've seen on other people's channels, it's a fairly good lifetime warranty. I've seen people with their shooting optics that Surefire is quite renowned for making. I've seen people damage them and get them sent back to Surefire and just not have any issues at all. So as far as I'm aware, it's a good warranty, and really, it's a simple product. You know what? There probably will always be 125 to 15 lumen flashlights getting made or torches getting made in the very similar configuration to this. So I don't know, maybe it is something worth spending the extra money on and lasting a lifetime. But what I'm saying is, I think a point you could take away from this video is, don't despair that you can't afford $100 for this Surefire Titan. It seems to me like this Olight i3 will do everything you need it to do. I'll turn off the lights in here and get some beam shots in a second, but even still, even on that front, if you're concerned you have to pay this amount of money to get a good pocket torch, then it's not correct at all. The reason you would pay this much money, and the reason I paid this much money, is because I was sick of things breaking, like my 3-night T10A. This back button sucks. It sticks half in. It's always been like it. And this is the third one I've had, and they've all been like it. So I don't know. I don't know if I've just been supremely unlucky. And there's often been issues with the emitters and things like that as well. So yeah, that's the main reason why I steered away and grabbed myself a Surefire, because I was sick of the disappointment. I had a 4.7's pre-on. The clip was just trash. It fell off and I lost it because of that trashy clip. Whether this clip's trash or not, it's definitely stronger than the 4.7's, but yeah, still yet to be seen. However, you can definitely attach this one to your keys as well. I just took off the little loop because it was annoying me, because I do plan on making this more of a pocket torch. So yeah, that's why I went to Surefire, and why I was just sick of lights just failing on me. And I know people have done torch tests on these, and their specific ones have been fine, but I wanted to be sure, and so I got a Surefire, and I have become a little bit of an ambassador for the brand perhaps because of it, but even the staunchest Surefire fan really can't point out too many differences or too many points of victory over this torch. Unless this torch fails on me the next year, I would say either of these would do the job for you. What do you think? Which would you prefer? Just fire down in the comments. I'd really love to hear a bit of a poll. Would you spend the extra money for the peace of mind that the Surefire provides, or is your torch something you do change every year or so and you're happy to spend $30 a year rather than $100 once? So, food for thought. Thanks for watching, dudes. I'll see you in the next video. Some ambient light. This is the beam on the max for the Olight. That's about 2 meters away. Nice and bright. It's daytime right now. And this is the beam on the Surefire. Olight off. Surefire on. There we go. So that's the max on the Surefire. You did see the slight difference between the low one before I turned that on, I suppose. Whoop. So that's the low, and that's the high on the Surefire. Let's go the Olight, high, medium, moonlight. Just my reference notes for this video. I'll just scroll them up if you're interested. So it's just the price, the max lumens, the run times, hope you can read my writing, the modes, tail stand yes, no, clip yes, no, the weight, and the warranty. Alright guys, that'll do it for now. Thanks for watching, see you later.